pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Norris, would you call the roll?
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Radner.
Councilmember Rodner is out ill.
Councilmember Weiss.
Here.
Councilmember Edgar.
Here. We have a quorum. Next thing is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda, and these are routine items presented without discussion. Regular City Council meeting minutes of January 6, 2020. Request to advertise for bids for the 2020 Joint and Crack Ceiling Project, M698. Payment application number 1 for the 2019 Bridge Enhancement Project, M670, to Z Contractors of Shelby Township, Michigan, for the total amount of $444,617.96 for work completed to date. Proposed change order number 2 in the amount of $10,397. Payment application number 3, final, for the total amount of $21,133 to Lacaria Concrete Construction for the 2018-19 Catch Basin Line Replacement Project, M687, which we don't appreciate unless it doesn't work. Payment application number 2 for the 2019 Water Main Replacement Project, M704, to Macomb Pipeline and Utilities Company of Sterling Heights, Michigan, for the amount of $82,016.41. Payment application number 2 for the 2019 Lead Water Service Replacement Project, M701, to D'Angelo Brothers Incorporated of Northville, Michigan, for the amount of $115,805. Finally, licenses new and renewals as submitted for January 21st, 2020. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem and seconded by Councilmember Weiss. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried. We don't have any elected officials visiting this time, so we're moving on to item 7 on the agenda, which is special recognition and presentations. I'd like to call the representative from Riemann Robson for the annual audit presentation. Can you give us your name when you get up there?
My name is Daniel Clark. I work for Ray Frosty, the external auditor for the state of Park. With that, I will start the presentation of the annual audit for the June 30th, 2019 year. You will have a hard copy up on your platform, and then it's also being presented above you. So if you'd like to follow along. So I'd like to communicate a few things that we are required as your auditors to communicate to the board, one of which we're happy to state that you received an unmodified opinion on your June 30th, 2019 financial statement, so that's exactly what the city is looking for. A couple other things that we're asked to communicate is whether or not any new accounting policies or procedures were implemented during the year, and there were no such ones adopted in fiscal year 19. Also, we're asked to assess estimates that the city uses in determining things like depreciation expense, your pension liability, your other post-employment benefit, and we assessed those and deemed all of those reasonable. We're also happy to state that we encountered no difficulties during the audit. We received great cooperation from Sandra and her team, so we really appreciate the efforts that the city put into this to make this a very successful audit. And as you'll see, we had no corrected or uncorrected material misstatements noted, so the records that we received were accurate and complete, and we noted no significant deficiencies or material weakness, so a completely clean audit when it comes to findings. I will note that there was an item noted that's required to be reported to the state whenever actual expenditures exceed budgeted expenditures. Those have to be reported in your financial statements, and there were a couple of those noted, and there was an action plan that was required to be completed. Those are not unusual. Most municipalities have those. It's just depending on timing and when the budget is approved. But I did want to point that out. Those were addressed, and at this point, there's nothing more that needs to be addressed as far as that goes. And if there are any questions, please feel free to stop me, but if not, I will just continue on. So just a quick financial statement highlight, and again, I'll go through these quickly. At the end of the year, you had $96,878,000 in assets compared to last year of just below $100 million, so you dropped about $2.9 million in assets. A big change there is related to those items that I talked about, the deferred pension and OPEB. Again, those are based on assumptions, and those change based on your actuarial report. And that was what drove that total number down by about the $2.9 million. You did have an increase in cash and investments at the end of the year. And again, this is entity-wide, so it's your business-type activities and all your funds. So your cash and investments increased $1.7 million, and that was a result of positive net income in both the governmental funds and the business type. The other side of the balance sheet are your liabilities. So at the end of the year, you had $186 million in liabilities compared to last year of $183 million in liabilities, an increase of about $2.7 million. And again, you'll notice most of those are made up of that net pension liability and that net OPEB, which is your other post-employment benefits, make up a significant portion of that.
So in a way, money was invested in the pension fund and the health care.
Correct, and that's the net portion that's still owed, in essence, or to be paid out to employees over the life of the plans. Your debt did decrease about $3 million. Again, that was your annual pay downs of both your general government debt and your business type debt. This slide pictures your equity, so your assets minus your liabilities, and this is the breakdown of your equity at the entity-wide level. You had about $40 million invested in capital assets. You had about $5.9 million in restricted dollars, so those items that are received from the state or the federal government for specific purposes that are restricted for those purposes. And then that large chunk is your unrestricted, which is a negative $135 million. And that is a result of that pension and OPEB that was put on your books over the last couple of years. So if you were to remove those two items, you'd actually be in a positive about $10 million unrestricted position. Next is just a trend over the last couple of years of those different categories. So you'll see that top line is your net investment in capital assets. That's remained relatively stable around the $40 million mark. Your restricted dollars has remained relatively stable around that $5.9 million. And your unrestricted is that bottom line. So you'll see from 2017 to 2018, that's when that OPEB was brought onto your books, which is why that decreased so significantly from 2017 to 2018. Now we'll go to the P&L really quickly. So you'll see revenue for 2019, you had $47 million in revenue, compared to $52 million in expenses this year, compared to $43 million in revenue last year with $52 million in expenses. And I will just state really quickly, these take into account your pension and OPEB expenses, and that's why the expenses are exceeding the revenue. We'll see on the next slide the actual general fund, and we'll show that that has been a positive number over the last couple of years. So your two major revenue line items that the city receives, property taxes, stand about $17.7 million, and that's that top line, and that is an increase from last year. And that bottom line are your state grants, so you're about $7 million in state grants compared to $6.4 last year, and again, that continues to increase over the last couple of years. So just two more slides I'll go over really quickly. So this is your general fund. Obviously, this is what the city budgets most based off of. So this year you had $21.9 million in general fund revenue compared to $21.4 million in expenses. So you had a positive increase of about $500,000. Last year you were at $20.6 million in revenue compared to 20.6 in expenses. So I think you had about a $50,000 increase last year. And then we like to show what's called the coverage ratio, so how much is in your fund balance as far as your monthly expenses. Could the general fund cover if you stop receiving $1 today? So you currently stand about 2.2 months of expenditures sitting in your fund balance, and that has stayed relatively stable over the last several years. So that's a positive increase from last year. And then the last slide just discusses the operating cash flow from your water sewer funds and your internal service funds. So we like to see that these are self-sustaining and that the positive cash flow remains there. So you'll see both for the water sewer fund, that top line, and then that bottom line, your internal service funds, both have remained positive over the last 3 years. And then the last slide is just some upcoming accounting pronouncements that may or may not affect the city, but I just wanted to communicate those to you. And as those become effective, we will actually be working with the city to make sure that those are all in compliance. The one coming up next year is GASB 84, which will be effective for your June 30th 20 financial statements, and that's related to any fiduciary activity. And again, we'll be working with the city to make sure that that's implemented correctly. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. Anything that I can clarify or answer for the council?
Does council have questions? Yes, please.
I want to thank you for that, by the way, and thank you for working with your team. You guys did a great job. I want to add a couple of things. A couple takeaways, I think. The presentation, we can't, with that many slides, go into the level of specificity that I'm about to, but I think it's important to note that the city's total healthcare costs came in under budget by about $332,000, and that's due to some changes, Medicare Advantage change with our retirees, and of course the city's wellness center. We also have our property tax revenue, I think it should be noted, was about $270,000 more than we budgeted. And I think that really showcases the strong comeback that the community is making. As was stated, as Daniel stated, the general fund ended about $500,000 better than we expected, and of that, we rolled about $125,000 into our fund balance. Our general fund balance, or the rainy day fund as it's often called, is about 20.4% of our expenditures, and that's been done just in the last 3, 4, 5 years. We didn't have a fund balance a couple years back, should be noted. Also, one more thing, the public safety retirement system and the general retirement system, it's a very, very important thing to note that both of those systems are now, I think in year, 17, Sandra, of a 20-year amortization, which means that hypothetically, as long as we continue with our increased contribution levels the way they are now, in 17 years, both of those pension systems will be in this area of fully funded status, which for our taxpayers is huge because it means that's less money the general fund will have to contribute and more money that city council and city manager and others can use to appropriate towards city resources like recreation or library or whatever it may be. So those are all very positive things happening in the city. I think it's also, one last thing, I think it's also important to note that we had, in the almost 8 years that I've been here as the city manager, this was the fewest chargebacks and delinquencies in the entire time that I've been here, which again just showcases the strength of our housing market and the comeback that we're making. It's really been tremendous. Also, I lied, one more thing. Our HOPEB healthcare fund, we've increased that balance, and this is sitting outside of the trust. So this is money that's sitting outside that presumably we could use if we had to in a pinch, which we don't plan to, but if we had to. We've increased that balance from $3.8 million to $5.1 million as of this budget year, which, that's $5.1 million that we simply did not have anything in previous years.
Fund.
There was no fund.
When I was elected, there was no fund,
Right.
with nothing in it, but no fund even to put nothing into. So this is incredible growth and improvement in the financial system.
I think that's true, Madam Mayor, and I'd just add this, that we still have a road ahead of us. I mean, there's no question we're not out of the woods, so to speak, but I think with the policies that have been implemented and the procedures and the way we've been structuring our comeback, there's no doubt that for the foreseeable future, we're in a pretty strong position. That's it. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, please.
First, just a comment. Thank you for this. It's very clear and straightforward in a way that I think is easy for anyone to understand.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Pictures are often nice, so.
Graphics are great. The water and sewer and internal service operating cash flows, page 11. This is revenue that we're looking at, correct?
No, that's actually cash flow.
Cash flow, so money in and out
Correct, for operating purposes.
for okay,
Yeah, so that doesn't include capital expenditures or any debt payments.
got it. Thank you.
It doesn't look so pretty when you look at it, but it's a blessing that we could do that. So thank you.
All right,
Bring good news next year.
thank you. I hope to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next, we have another presentation that I've been really looking forward to. Sunday is Winterfest from 2 to 5. Free everything. Free horse sleigh rides in the park. Free ice skates and ice skating in the rink. S'mores. You get to toast your own marshmallows. Yes. Bring everyone, kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, friends from other cities. Everybody's welcome. And setting it up for the summer blast.
May I say one thing before she goes?
Please, yes.
Lori, let me turn it over to you, but before you go, I want to say one thing. One thing before she gives her presentation, I wanted to mention, council members, because some of you weren't on the council that created the 5-year strategic plan that we're currently living in. One of the objectives of that plan, and Lori has done a great job in terms of executing on that, was to create a signature festival for the city. And so with that in mind, Lori has a presentation that she's going to conduct for us.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, City Manager Tungate, administrative staff. Well, this kind of segues what City Manager Tungate was just saying. A couple of years ago, I was talking with the City Manager Tungate, and he envisioned bringing a signature summer special event to Oak Park. The event would be one that residents would look forward to each year and would help make Oak Park a destination by neighboring communities. And as everybody knows, this year we celebrate Oak Park's 75th anniversary. So this seems a perfect time to kick off a new tradition in our community. So I would like to propose to you our plan for this year's Summer Blast. This would be a 3-day event beginning Friday, June 12th through Sunday, June 14th. Friday, the time would be from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, 11 to 11, and Sunday, noon to 6 p.m. The proposed attractions, as you can see from the slide, include a carnival with assorted rides suitable for children through adults, a midway featuring games and concessions, additional barbecue concessions and a food court, a mini pub selling beer and wine, entertainment featuring live bands and a DJ, the 10th annual barbecue battle, which we would be partnering with Oakland County Parks on, which we have been doing for the last 4 years. That would be Saturday, June 13th from 7 a.m. when the teams check in through 6 p.m. when the awards are presented. We would have our pool open on Saturday, June 13th from 1 to 6 p.m. And Sunday, June 14th, we have various times that we would promote throughout the day, and additional added value and amenities to be determined. The area that we are proposing to hold Summer Blast is the open space west of the community center for the midway and rides, the community center parking lot that would feature the food court as well as the barbecue battle on Saturday, The fenced-in tennis courts, that would have a tent and seating area for the mini pub and entertainment and DJ. And the parking lot by the ice arena for the Skirbeck family carnival folks to park their vehicles and for housing. Let me tell you a little bit about the Carnival Company and why we chose them and why. Skirbeck Family Carnival has a long successful history in the amusement industry business. It has been a family-owned business for over 6 generations, and they started in the 1850s. We chose them primarily for 2 reasons. Number 1, they have a strong history and a reputation for providing successful festivals throughout the state and are the sole provider for over 26 festivals. They're the provider for some of the smaller festivals like Berkeley Days and the Hazel Park Memorial Day festivals. Also, they are the sole provider for some of the larger festivals like the Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival, the Bay City Summer Festival, and the Grosse Ile Island Days. The other reason for our selections is that they focus on safety and customer service. They have consistent equipment inspections and employee training. Their concessions are certified. Respect and courtesy are at a priority for guests, and they have an on-site customer service office. Also, they will pick up and remove the refuse from their midway. This is a quote from the Bay City Fireworks Festival Committee. People travel from all over the country to witness the Bay City Fireworks, one of the grandest events in all of mid-Michigan. During the day, bring the family out and enjoy one of the safest and longest-running family carnivals, Skirbeck Carnival Midways, while awaiting the incredible fireworks display. I'm sure you're wondering about funding or the costs for Summer Blast. For the entertainment, DJ, infrastructure, such as porta potties, security, marketing services, we will be seeking sponsors to cover the cost. We are confident in our ability to do that because, number 1, it's a 3-day event, and it gives sponsors the opportunity for a lot of visibility. And number 2, based on our track record of holding other successful special events. Our funding sources include revenue from beer and wine sales, concession vendor fees, and a percentage of the carnival proceeds. The way they work this is that a percentage of the proceeds are awarded back to Oak Park from wristband sales and concession space fees. For our contracts, Skirbeck would award Oak Park 20% of their revenues, up to $50,000. Should they exceed $50,000 in revenue, they would the award percentage goes up to 25%. I have worked through the idea with the other department directors and have discussed it with our Parks and Recreation Commission and have their full support. A few of my commissioners for Parks and Recreation are here tonight in show of support. Our intention is that Summer Blast will become a proud Oak Park tradition that our residents will look forward to. And do you have any questions or comments about anything I presented?
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, please. Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Normally, we used to have a festival the first weekend in August.
Mhm.
So this is taking the place of that, correct?
Yes, and the reason why we would like to work with the Skirbeck Carnival folks, and this is what they have available for us, but actually it works out because we would like to kick off the summer with this.
Okay, that's great. So we are going to do everything that we possibly can to promote this and get the information out to the community and let everyone know that this is going to be happening this year.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to add to that, Mayor Pro Tem, that I believe that when you guys were researching these dates, the other consideration was that this was not, there weren't a lot of other things going on in the metro area. So this was kind of an open time when we thought maybe we could have it kind of to ourselves and get more attendance. The other thing I wanted to mention is, I'm not sure if the commission and yourself are still thinking about this, but I know that at one point we were talking about this next year having the event where, in the area that Lori mentioned, but then the year after that, possibly moving it down to 9 and Coolidge when our streetscape is finished and so forth.
Okay.
To take advantage of those parks.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Well, yeah, I think that's a very good idea because in the past, the first weekend in August was also the Charivari Music Festival. And a lot of people who attended that instead of coming here to our event. So maybe this year, since it's at a different date, they will get the chance to come and enjoy the Summerfest here with us at Oak Park.
Very good. And it's right after school's out.
Right. Great way.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Weiss.
I agree. I love the date. Not everyone's out, though. I have another week left. I looked. But most people in this area will be out that week, so that'll be a perfect way to kick off the summer and get started. I was just wondering about parking for people who are coming to visit. Are we going to be using the high school for that at all, or have we
Well,
thought that through?
I wanted to propose this first, and then we
Just
would.
like to say we have a new audience member. Oh, okay. Okay.
I also want to mention that June 12th is my birthday.
Oh, the birthday party.
everybody to celebrate.
It's a birthday party. And Director Stasiak.
We knew that too, Mayor Pro Tem. That's why we did that. We knew you'd support it.
Yes, right. Always believes if this year's program is here, next year's program is going to be bigger and better. And she has done that with all the programs she has brought to Oak Park. And people are just talking about Oak Park now because it's the center of everything.
Well, thank you, Mayor, but I can't do it alone. I've got a great staff, great Parks and Recreation Commission also, and a great community to work for.
Hats off.
Hats off to you, right? Thank you. Thank you. We are very grateful.
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
So I'm really excited about this carnival. It's great. Will there be room for like a kosher food truck? Are you going to make some provisions for people who keep kosher and want to attend?
Oh, absolutely, yes. We try to do that with all of our events.
I know that at Winterfest on Sunday, you'll have kosher s'mores and
The hot chocolate
the hot chocolate, yes. It's very exciting.
and donuts also.
Thank you.
Just everybody is welcome, and we all party together in Oak Park.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I take it that's a yes?
Yes,
Do we have
You need a
do we
vote.
have to vote on that?
Yes, let's see.
definitely yes.
Would you like
Can we
Summer
vote for
Blast?
fun?
7B.
I would like to make a motion
I
that we approve the new dates and activities for Summer Blast 2020,
I would
as
like-
proposed by Director Stasiak.
I would like to second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nobody. Unanimous support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public hearing. Before the public hearing, City Manager Eric Tungate will present about Rachel's Restaurant.
Oh, I'm actually not going to present, Madam
Oh,
Mayor,
you're
but
gonna call?
they're welcome to, should I introduce our guest? Okay, so let me, I was going to do this in the city manager report.
You're going to introduce our clerk department to,
I was going to have Kim come up and, no? Okay, Mark Hotz is here from the clerk's office. Mark, you want to come on up and give us a, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you want me to introduce our guest. I'm sorry. Okay. So Mark, take it away, and then we'll have our
Thank you.
public
Good
hearing.
evening, everyone. This is an application for a Class C liquor license from Rachel's Restaurant LLC, who's represented by Daniel Cohn, and Mr. Cohn is present this evening. The proposed location is 25850 Greenfield Road. They previously obtained special land use approval from the Planning Commission at the November 12, 2019 meeting. Subsequently, as we always do with the liquor license application process, because the ordinance requires sign-offs from the various departments, those were sent out, copies have been provided to the council, all of the requisites approvals have been issued. 3 of the 4 liquor licenses that currently exist in the city were for restaurants that were already in existence, so they didn't have to do a lot of the things that the most recent 2 did. So that's why on the sign-offs, you'll note that there are some conditions, and that's to be expected because they're not up and running. So some of the things that we're saying, yes, proceed to approve the license, but these things will have to be completed or provided subsequent to this. So with technical and planning, they hadn't applied for a business license, but they've done that now. They provided me with a copy of the receipt earlier this morning. They obviously don't have a certificate of occupancy. That will come subsequent to this. With public safety, the background check was approved, but again, they have to conduct the fire inspection, so the approval was contingent on that being completed successfully. With the city clerk, we don't actually give them the Class C liquor license from the city of Oak Park until all those other things are done, and the ordinance requires that before the clerk can sign off, they have to provide us with a copy of the license from the county to serve food, which Mr. Cohn doesn't have yet, of course, but again, he's in the process of obtaining that. And we won't actually give him the license until he brings us a copy of the state license, which again, he doesn't have because part of that requires a resolution from the council confirming the Class D liquor license. The biggest question that came up is that although it's not specified in the ordinance, part of the process that we've implemented is finance has to confirm that there aren't any outstanding obligations owed to the city or to the county by either the applicant or the property owner. Well, what happened was, you'll notice that the condition from the finance department was there's an entity that was located at this address that was called Empower Mart, and apparently they have a history of not paying their personal property taxes. Well, we've consulted with Mr. Cohn. He doesn't have any interest in that business. He confirmed with the landlord where the restaurant would be located is that's a business that used to be there, isn't there anymore. But City Clerk Norris asked, and I've confirmed with Mr. Cohn, that he'll provide us with an affidavit to that effect confirming that he doesn't have any interest in that entity, that he's not liable for whatever that obligation might be. Other than that, everything seems to be fine. Mr. Cohn's here to answer any questions you may. Oh, one other thing that may come up, because I know Mayor Pro Tem Burns and City Manager Tungate are on the Planning Commission, is when we first commenced this process, we identified it as Rachel's Restaurant, and I believe that at the Planning Commission meeting, it had a different name, or so I asked Mr. Cohn, expecting that there may be questions, and he said that actually they haven't decided on the final name for the restaurant at this point. But he's here to answer any questions. Or
Come on up, please. Tell us what you're planning, and tell us who's Rachel. Oh, for him to talk? Yes? One moment. So we are officially declaring the public hearing open, and first we'll have Mr. Cohn discuss his plans for Rachel's Restaurant.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having us here. I am Daniel Cohn. This is Quinn Velasco. Quinn is our Director of Operations. So to answer your first question, Rachel is my wife sitting right over here. That's her middle name, actually. She didn't want everybody knowing, so we didn't use her first name, we used her middle name. That's for the LLC. We actually have not decided on a name for the restaurant yet.
Okay.
Well, we're happy to answer any questions, and we're very excited
And
about
what
it.
do you plan? This is a dairy restaurant?
Yes, so it's
Open
going
to
to-
everybody?
Yes, it's going to be a kosher restaurant, but of course open to everybody. Kosher allows us to be open to actually everybody. And it's going to be dairy. I don't want to bore you with details, but in kosher you can't have meat and dairy together. We already have a meat operation, which is Cravings, about a quarter mile down the road from there. So this is going to be our dairy operation.
What kinds of things will you have? If I come in, what should I look for?
So we're kind of describing it as what we would say is a California Italian feel. Quinn spent quite a few years in California, so he's going to help with that feel. And we're going to go for kind of Italian-style dishes, Mediterranean-style dishes, pizzas, pastas, fish, and also strong on the vegetarian and vegan aspect as well.
Thank you for that. I happen to be vegan, so I look forward to that. Was it called, did you, on the planning commission plans, was it Nona?
It was Nona,
No,
yes.
okay, all right. I thought it was the same. I just wanted to make sure I was thinking of the same thing.
Yes,
Thank
Doesn't
you.
that mean grandmother?
it does, yes, in Italian.
It's grandma's in Italian, cute. Wonderful. Anyone have questions for the owner? Yes.
I believe part of the plan is you're combining two buildings, is that correct? Two existing buildings, or like expanding a building?
So our current plan is not to do that.
Okay.
There is, so it used to be that greenhouse back when it was Dinzer's. And so there's that front main portion of the building. There's where the greenhouse used to be, which is just a courtyard / patio right now, and then there's that back building. We are not doing construction between the two. We may use the back as something to support the front at some point.
Outdoor dining.
Right. Yes, it's a great idea.
You want to come sit with us?
That was going to
So-
be my next question. Sorry.
Oh.
Were you planning on having outdoor dining as part of this possibly?
We may do like an enclosed outdoor dining.
Okay,
Yeah, something that'll be sustainable year-round, but we're still exploring that right now.
thank you.
I'm very excited that that building is going to be something. And I'm sure you went over all this in your planning commission hearings, but it seems like the ingress is sort of weird, like coming off of Greenfield Road, you've got to go up. Are you going to level that or somehow?
It's a great question. So we may work on the grade a little bit for two reasons. One, for the turn-in, also in terms of outdoor dining. Actually, right out front of the building is a decent possibility for some small outdoor dining, which we may utilize, but we would also need to adjust the grade for that. In terms of the parking lot in general, it'll be a big improvement for us in terms of it being a standalone building. Right now at Cravings, where we are, one of our biggest issues is that there's never any parking available. So there's a lot of parking there. And yeah, it's a little bit narrow, but it's actually an upgrade from where we currently are. So, but we may try to improve it from there.
So you're not going to be open on Friday and Saturday?
Yes, which is classic for kosher restaurants to not be open on Friday night or Saturday, although in the winter months when Sabbath ends earlier, so sundown is earlier, we may open for Saturday nights.
That's great. I just want to put a plug in for the murals. It's part of the strategic planning that the council did, but there's that nice wall. Perfect for a mural, just saying.
Sure.
But I'm really excited. We need another restaurant, a dairy restaurant in town.
Awesome, thank you.
Right, and you're going to make a lot of happy vegans.
Nice.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for investing in the city of Oak Park.
Thank you for having us. We're
And
very
bringing
excited.
your young associate with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay, now there's time for public comment. If anybody would like to have a comment or a question just about this restaurant at this time, there'll be time later for any kind of public comment. Anyone have an issue with the restaurant? Questions? It's a quiet group. Seeing none, we can close this public hearing. Go to the next item, which is 8B, which is resolutions approving a Class C liquor license to Rachel's Restaurant, owned by Daniel Cohn, 25850 Greenfield Road. Is there a motion to approve these resolutions?
So moved?
Second?
That's Mayor Pro Tem Burns and seconded by Councilmember Weiss. Is there discussion or questions? No. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. Welcome to your second restaurant in Oak Park. You said it. All right, thank you. We have no communications or special licenses. We need an approval for payment of invoices submitted by Garen Luca Miller, PC, for legal services in the total amount of $15,572.94. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second?
Okay, so moved by Councilmember Weiss and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
I have a comment.
comment. Mayor Pro Tem.
In the famous words of
Yeah, Solomon Ratner.
Solomon Ratner, you have to pay your attorneys.
Right.
You have to pay your
Solomon,
lawyer.
for those of you who don't know, Solomon is the attorney on the council. So since he's too sick to be here, thank you for putting in his comment. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Any further? Nope. Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Motion carried. We have no bids or ordinances or city attorney comment. City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I have I'd like to ask, not yet. I'd like to ask Director Van Vleck to join me at the podium. I have a surprise for the City Council, and we have an old friend here, and I understand, Crystal, you're serving as his interpreter.
I am.
Okay. Here he is.
So, I'd like to introduce Oki.
What is his name?
Oki. And
Oki.
his shirt, he has it on his shirt. So Oki is very shy. So he asked me to speak on his behalf today. Oki has been the mascot for many years, but he has been in hibernation. Recently, one of our city's DPW staff found him in his tree in Shepherd Park and convinced him to come back. And while he's very shy and a little overheated, I think, right now, he decided to come back. So he wants everyone to know that he's very excited to be back and to look for him at city events. He loves taking pictures with people.
High five, Oki. All right.
Oki was going to be on the payroll, but he's no longer now. After that move right there. But, council members, I do want to point out that the reason that, and as Crystal mentioned, Oki is a longtime fixture in our community. In fact, our old Oki costume is, I think we still have it, but it's too worn out to use. But the spelling of Oki is very key, as I've learned the hard way. There's other ways to spell that that are derogatory terms that aren't so great. So that's why that spelling is there. But
It's O-A-K for Oak Park
and then right.
and a Y. Oak Park's Oki. Oh.
You can Google the name. If I won't say it, but
And
there-
he's taking his first official
There it is.
picture with a resident in the back hall.
City Manager, I think we have a rodent problem in City Hall.
they're- look, he's. Just watch out for those coyotes, Oki.
Oh, adorable. Oh, a spirit thing. That's just great.
Okay, with that said, Director Marody, will you join me at the podium for 15A? And I understand we have CEOs here. Kirk Mays is here.
Yes, yeah, that's a hard act to follow. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. In front of you tonight is a resolution in support of Forgotten Harvest. As you well know, they are a business resident in our community and have been for many, many years. And we have Kirk Mays here, as well as Ann Ginn from Forgotten Harvest, here to represent them. They have been looking at a piece of property on 8 Mile Road to expand their bulging business in rescuing food, and in order to continue serving the community in southeastern Michigan, they need to expand their facilities. While we were competing with many other communities that they could have gone to, we are happy that they're going to stay here in Oak Park, and we would like you to support this resolution so that it will help them to maybe get some necessary funding to make this project a reality. And Kirk, do you want to add anything?
I only like to add, well, thank you, one, for consideration of our project and approval or acceptance of our project to continue to be a part of the community of Oak Park. It has been a pleasure to be a part of this community, and we are really happy that with everything that we've been trying to do in order to make sure we're the best organization for our region, that it looks like Oak Park can continue to be our home.
That's great news.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Kirk, I just want to just add a quick thing. Thank you so much for, as Kim mentioned, choosing to stay in Oak Park. I know how many other cities were vying for you guys, and I'm so happy that you can stay here. And also, I wanted to just mention that as of this development, which I can't wait to see what it's going to look like, this will fully build out the Armory site at 8 in
Oh,
Greenfield.
still more?
Yeah.
Still, because they're taking the front half, yeah, right. Okay, so almost fully build out the Armory site. But to think that we started with it, all that vacant land, and just a few short years later now, and that we were able to keep such a great nonprofit that does such a great thing for our region is just great news for the city of Oak Park. So I wanted to thank you personally.
Well, thank you.
I remember going there and reading the article about Forgotten Harvest, and they are an nationally award-winning nonprofit. They are beautifully run and the cream of the cream, and we are so lucky that they are staying with us.
We'll be here for a long time.
That'd be great.
That's great.
Looking
Thank you.
forward.
Great to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody is about one paycheck away from needing their services, so we need to support them and help them do their good work. Let's see. We have a resolution endorsing support for Forgotten Harvest to retain its administration and operations on a new campus in the city of Oak Park. Is there a motion for this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have Mayor Pro Tem Burns and second by Councilmember Weiss. Any discussion?
I just want to add quickly that I think we always get excited about new development coming into the city, but I think this in particular, when it is such a powerful community organization that you guys are able to not only stay in our city, but to expand in our city, we're really happy to have you.
I'd just like to make a comment as well.
Yes, please.
Also, the word in the community and outside of the community is that Forgotten Harvest is in Oak Park. So I think it speaks volumes to know that you will remain in Oak Park, just in a different location, a larger location. So again, thank you. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you and welcome again. So we need a vote on the resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No one? Unanimous welcome to your second location. May you only continue to grow.
Absolutely. Assistant City Manager Kevin Yee, will you join me at the podium for 15B, one of the exciting projects of the night, unfortunately.
Good evening.
Important projects, though.
Always important projects. Bids were opened on January 6th for the 2020 sewer lining project, M703. The only bidder, Lonzo Trenchless Technologies, submitted a bid of $313,390. The bid is more than $50,000 over the engineer's estimate. 2 other bids were turned in late and were not accepted. We feel that rebidding this project will result in a more desirable outcome. Therefore, it is recommended that the request to reject the bids and re-advertise for bids for the 2020 sewer lining project M703 be approved. Funding is available in the Water and Sewer Fund.
We need a motion to request to reject the current bid and re-advertise.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Weiss. Discussion? Yes?
When we do these sort of bidding processes, how long are they usually open for?
Usually, it depends on the size of the project. I believe this project was out and advertised for 2 weeks. So usually enough time for a project like this for bidders to have enough time to put together a bid.
Okay.
But one of them was sent out FedEx, and apparently they had tried to deliver it on a closed Friday, and then on Monday it just got here after the bid opening. And then the other bidder that tried to submit just turned in late. So they came in late.
Will the bidders be notified that it is reopening?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Question?
Will there be any adjustments to the bid so that we would be able to get more bids?
No, we're not going to change anything. The companies that did turn in late bids are regular bidders for these types of projects. There aren't a whole lot of bidders for a sewer lining type of project, but the two, 3 bids is, we should get 3 bids. And that's what I expect to get this next time.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No?
Thank you. Kevin, Assistant City Manager Yee, 15C as well, please.
The Public Works Department is requesting authorization to purchase a new 2020 Chevy Tahoe four-wheel drive police package. It is recommended that City Council authorize Public Works Department to participate with Oakland County pre-bid contract for this purchase. It is further recommended that funding for this vehicle and the required upfitting be provided from the motor pool fund balance of $45,000 and the general fund balance of $10,000, and the amount not to exceed $55,000 for the total purchase. The vehicle price itself is $36,588, and then there's upfitting, which includes decaling and decals for the vehicle and all the radios and light bars and things like that for the vehicle. This vehicle will replace a vehicle that was totaled in an accident.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this pre-bid contract?
So moved?
Second?
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Weiss. Is there discussion or questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I do believe you mentioned it, but this amount does cover the outfitting of all the equipment and gadgets that has to go on the inside, because I know once we purchase these vehicles, they have to be adjusted and things have to be put inside and...
Correct.
Okay.
They need radios and light bars and, basically have computers and cameras and all kinds of things
the
inside
bells
of
and
them. So,
whistles, yeah.
yeah. So the $55,000 is the total.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, please.
I know obviously we currently use Tahoes in our public safety fleet. What is the process for like choosing the type of vehicle though? Is it just based on what we already have? Is it based on what the Oakland County pre-bid contract stipulates?
No, we choose the vehicles that we want to use, and I say we, public safety chooses the vehicles that they want to use. The Tahoe better fits the purpose since they are public safety. It fits their turnout gear for both fires and what they need for police and medical runs. They're bigger vehicles, and they, hold your belts with all your equipment on them and things like that, and they're roomy enough that they're more comfortable for the officers to drive in. Obviously, it's kind of their office, and it better fits them and their equipment.
Thank you.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I have one more thing, and that's that Director Van Vleck has told me I have to remind everyone that we have another community input session Friday, this Friday. There it is, from 2 to 4. For our community visioning, and these are this input we're going to take back to City Council and when we're forming our new strategic plan. And we had one this evening, so I look forward to seeing all of you. And with that,
City Manager, I think she wants to
and there's
come
a
up
survey. I'm sorry, I was just assuming that. But there is a survey you can go to on Facebook or on our city website. And how many questions are there? 20 questions. Your input and feedback are very much appreciated because, again, that's what we're going to use to provide recommendations on the future of the city.
It's a well-thought-out survey. It was very interesting to take. Don't complain later. Get your opinion in now.
If I could just add quickly, the survey will be up until February 13th.
February 13th.
To complete.
Very good.
And with that, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Next, it's call to the audience. We have little cards. You can fill in your name and address so we get your name spelled right in the minutes. If you'd like to come up and speak about any topic now, just not the restaurant, this is anything on your mind about Oak Park.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and administrative staff. My name is Yolanda Davis Campbell. I am the first vice president of the Rho Sigma Foundation, as well as a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Rho Sigma Alumni Chapter. And I have here Tiana Peterson.
Tiana Peterson. I'm a teacher in Oak Park, and also I'm the committee chair for, actually the program chair for a program that we're doing in Oak Park that we're here to talk about.
Thank you. We are here to talk about the 23rd Annual Youth Symposium given by Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. This year, we will be at Nova Discipline Academy on March the 20th, 2020. And our theme this year is elevating our youth civically, socially, and personally. So we are here to invite Mayor Pro Tem to our event to take a long lunch. It's from 11:30 and to 2 p.m. at, again, the Nova Nova Disciplinary Academy. What we do at our youth symposium, we actually wanted to work with girls who are in a situation to let them know that where they are now is not where they need to be in the future. And we're here to give them the tools to successfully be productive citizens once they graduate, if they're in foster care, juvenile justice, or any disciplinary situation, once they're out of that situation, we want them to be productive humans. And we are here to help them get the tools to do that. The Rho Sigma Foundation of Sigma Gamma, the Rho Sigma Foundation was established in 1999, but the Rho Sigma chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho has been continuously serving the Detroit metro community since 1936. We had the first, we held the first, what is it called? Job fair in the community back in 1938. And recently, we hold the largest the largest swim clinic in the country annually with Wayne County. We also have the Project Cradle Care, which we educate young girls about prenatal as well as prenatal care. So those are some of the things we do in the community. We do a plethora of other things, but those are the two largest events that we hold. In our youth symposium, again, we would like to invite you out to hear what we have to say and how we can help the community in Oak Park. So thank you.
So you're the Oak Park chapter, right?
No, we are the Detroit alumni. We handle all the Metro Detroit outside of Southfield.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, we don't have an Oak Park chapter.
When do you want us? Give us the date when you want us.
Yes, again, it's March the 20th at 11:30 till 2 at the Nova Disciplinary Academy.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for everything you plan and do for our girls and boys. It takes a village, and thanks for being part of our village.
Thank you. Have a great
Excuse me,
evening.
before you leave, I would like to formally accept your invitation. I will be there. I may not be able to stay for the entire luncheon, but I will be more than happy to come and speak.
Thank you. We greatly appreciate it.
And if you could fill out the little card with all the information on it, we'll get everything spelled right.
Thank you. And we will be formally emailing you an request for a proclamation to the mayor's office as well as to Mayor Pro Tem.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and the officers. I'm Sherry A. Wells of Ferndale, but tonight I'm also Mrs. Ferndale. When I've been involved in the Ferndale Historical Society, I have been out for photo ops when we were putting historic plaques on the businesses in the downtown area, and a number of other things as well. And one of the things I learned about Oak Park as a member of the Ferndale Historical Society is at one time you had a bog fire that lasted a whole year. I was talking with Leslie Ritchie. who's
South of 9, I believe it was.
Okay, where?
It was an
People
underground
said
peat
who
fire.
lived there long ago said that it was south of 9.
All right.
And that you could see the fires burning.
For the whole year. Right. Well, it's peat. And then your neighbor Ferndale was one big swamp, and people would use a rowboat to go house hunting in the spring. So history is interesting, and the way the weather is going, we may have to be doing that again. So I've been working with Leslie Ritchie. She can't be here tonight because she's recovering from surgery, but she and your library have been very helpful. What I have here, the cover is a map of the original 1833 Royal Oak Township. People don't realize that a township is 8 Mile to 14 to Quinder to Greenfield, and the map shows all the different sections that were cut out of it by city after city. It shows that Oak Park became a village in 1927 and a city in 1945. The list inside are of the various Polk City directories up through 1960 for anyone to do historic research. And in the 1936 issue and 1945, Oak Park calls itself Detroit's fastest growing suburb. One of our Ferndale City Council members was very proud of, when she was on our Ferndale School District Board, that she was working with the City of Oak Park, and you put in real affordable housing, not this market rate. And as someone who's familiar with the history that goes along with this clothing, the 1920s and 30s, affordable housing was important then, and it's certainly even more important now. So I was proud to hear that and proud to tell you how pleased I am, and I think your neighbor, my town, could learn something from that. So I would like to, I have here 2 pages all ready to go in a reference ring binder, and then another 4-page folder that can be hidden in case you need to replace anything or wherever you want to put it. And I understand that your mayor is very much involved and interested in history as well, so if I may hand this over to you, I'd be pleased to do that.
Yes, I rooked my husband into writing a history of Oak Park. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you for your work, and thank you for coming and sharing with the city of Oak Park.
My pleasure.
We're friends with Ferndale. Anybody else? If there isn't anyone else, I would just like to say that I spent a wonderful morning yesterday at the Oak Park High School for their Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Keeper of the Promise annual celebration. And President Menachem Hoyda talked about being different and looking different, and how we in Oak Park accept each other for who we are, and it was a wonderful talk. Senator Jeremy Moss spoke, Robert Wittenberg, our state representative, spoke. Principal Haley was the master of ceremonies with a young man and a young woman who were outstanding. I would have been scared out of my socks to do that. At that age, they stood up there and introduced each act, and they were amazing. One of the highlights was Dr. Virgil Goodwine was presented with the Keeper of the Promise Award. And have you heard about the Detroit Youth Choir that was on television, has been all over the country and all over the world? They performed for us because their director, Mr. Anthony White, is the director of music in Oak Park schools. So we lucked out and got this performance that was on television. And I think it's on our Facebook page. You can click it and hear it even. It was amazing. It was just really wonderful. Reminder, Sunday, between 2 and 5, bring the family, bring your friends, bring the kids. Let's enjoy the day together. Winterfest. Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Please be cognizant of the cold weather. We're finally getting our winter that we normally get in Detroit, in Michigan. So please be careful with the pets and check on our seniors. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Weiss.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to just echo the mayor's comments. I hope everyone had a great MLK Day. I had the pleasure of marching with the rest of the Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission of Oak Park and the Southfield Peace March. So we left from Hope United Methodist Church and down to the Southfield Municipal Center for performances, and that was really great. It was cold, but it wasn't as cold as it was last year, so we all had hand warmers. We made it through. I also wanted to let people know the Traffic Safety Commission has been meeting. We've met twice now, and we're continuing to meet. One of our goals right now is to have two goals that we're working on. One is to create a structure for how we will proceed in identifying any particular traffic issues within the city. That's going to be a little bit more systematic in how we approach that. But another is just to get an idea of where some of the issues of concerns are right now for a lot of residents. And so we're going around to various block clubs and talking to folks. But if there are any issues that any residents have that they know of, and if they're listening and want to share, right now, particularly what we're focusing on are any dangerous intersections, any major traffic issues in a neighborhood, or any pedestrian concerns in a neighborhood.
How would they report those?
So that's the next thing I was going to say. So if you have anything that you want to share, right now you can just email it to me. My email is rweiss, W-E-I-S-S, at oakparkmi.gov. Again, that's rweiss at oakparkmi.gov. Also, just wanted to remind everyone that the absentee ballot application has gone out for people who are planning on voting in the presidential primary. So if you have not received that application, or if you want to be added to the permanent absentee list, you should come down to see our lovely city clerk, and they will get you hooked up so that you can vote absentee for the primary. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
And Councilmember Edgar.
I'm really happy to see members of Parks and Rec out tonight in force. It's great. Really excited about Sunday, and I hope everybody comes to Winterfest. I hear we're going to have winter again this weekend, so that's exciting. We can sled. Also, we had this visioning open house, and I think we got some pretty good feedback, but it'd be great for everybody to come back on Friday, or tell your friends and other residents to please come to City Hall.
Friday, what time?
2 to 4? 2 to 4. Thank you, Mayor. Anyway, so thank you all for coming out tonight. Night.
So I was wonderful meeting Oki, the quiet but effective Oak Park spokes squirrel. Had to do that, sorry. There being no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we can just hold it back here. That's easy to pull out on Friday. Like right in this little kitchenette area.
Hey, Lori.